Well, good evening everybody. My name is Robert Nastasi and I'm the college principal here at Emmaus, and I extend a warm welcome to everybody that's joining us online for what is our virtual open night for 2021. We're doing it a little bit differently this year, and I hope you find that it's valuable and useful doing it this way. Our learnings last year during remote learning told us that parents were busy and families were busy, and learning remotely and doing things online was a good way to go about getting information across. So this is Catholic Schools Week, and it is a wonderful week where we celebrate our college along with all the Catholic schools in the state. So on behalf of the staff at Emmaus Catholic College, we're delighted that you're joining us for this presentation, and I'm particularly delighted to be inviting and hopefully speaking to our prospective families and our Year 7 students for 2022, and I hope that the information provided gives you a good insight into the college and what we do here. But before I begin, I always like to acknowledge the traditional caretakers of this land, the Darug people, and pay my respects to the Aboriginal elders past, present and emerging. And as we always do with all our college events, I'd like to commence with prayer. And so in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, amen. Everlasting God, we give thanks for your nourish and strengthen us with your merciful love. Give us this day our daily bread. We pray for those who hunger in scorched lands, with no food for their children. Together we cry out for justice. Give us this day our daily bread. Help us to share generously as one global family and to hold on to hope for a world transformed. Bread of life, we pray your people may find life and joy in all its fullness. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. And in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So the idea this evening is that hopefully we'll go for about 30 minutes. There'll be about 30 minutes of input from myself. And then obviously as we're travelling along, feel free to enter any questions as part of the chat function. And I'll endeavour to either answer those as we go or address some of those at the very end of this presentation. But I guess no doubt the burning question for you all watching on this evening is to ascertain whether Emmaus Catholic College is the right college for your sons and daughters. And hopefully over the next half an hour I'm able to share some of our story and to entice you and encourage you to enrol at Emmaus for 2022. But as a segue, and before I get into that, I'd like to just share with you, I guess, what has been a wonderful, wonderful beginning of our college year in 2021. And there are some photos there that you can see on screen that depict some of the wonderful things that have taken place. We've had a great start, and I'm really encouraged and impressed by our students and the way in which they're applying themselves to their learning. I'm particularly impressed with Year 7, 141 of them this year. They've done wonderful work in becoming part of the Emmaus fabric and the community. They've recently come back from a 3-day camp to Kincumber, where I know they had a ball up there, and it gave them a chance to really meet new friends and acquaint themselves with their peers who will be with them for the journey over the next 6 years. So in a special way, I welcome our current Year 7, and I know that they've contributed somewhat to us so far, but will be a wonderful group that will contribute to us for many years to come. We've had the beautiful privilege of having Bishop Vincent with us this year, where we had our opening Mass, and at that opening Mass we also were able to bless our new buildings that were opened last year, 3 new spaces that we've got, and we didn't get a chance to do that last year, but we were blessed to have Bishop here to do that for us, so that was a wonderful occasion. I apologise we didn't have a swimming carnival, so to our current community, I know they were a little bit disappointed. We normally have a wonderful swimming carnival. Those days are more a community event rather than the competition and the winning of different events and so forth. But unfortunately with COVID and the restrictions with the council and the use of the pool, we didn't have that carnival this year. But we are anticipating that carnival may happen in term 4. We had a beautiful Ash Wednesday liturgy, and I appreciate the work that was done there by our school in making sure that we made the Lenten season and put that at the forefront of our community. It's a beautiful season, and it's probably the most important season on our liturgical calendar. And then with that, we've been engaged in Project Compassion to support Caritas, and I am very grateful to our students for the generous contributions that they're putting forward to support those in need, not only in our community but in the wider Australian community. And the theme this year with Project Compassion, which I think resonates beautifully with us as a college, is to be more and not to want more. And I know our students do that and do that really well. We've got a Mufti Day too on Friday, a multicultural day where we celebrate the some 45 different cultures that make up the Emmaus community. And I'm always proud on that day to see those different cultures in action, to witness the different dress and the different food and the dance and the music that goes with our wonderful cultural groups that we have here at Emmaus. And it's a chance to fundraise again to support Project Compassion. So I thank our community. So that gives you a bit of a sense of what we've done thus far in Term 1. We have packed lots in, and that's just the nature of the Emmaus community. And so I guess now moving forward, a little bit about our story and our traditions, and I wanted to share a little bit of that with you now. And I guess in looking at that slide, you'll see that the college was founded in 1988, and indeed next year we celebrate 35 years in terms of the school being present here at Kemps Creek. We are set on 44 hectares, and yes, you heard correctly, 44 hectares, and when I say that to people, they often fall off their seats. We have the primary school here on the campus, the secondary college and the village, and so it is what we would know as our beautiful little oasis, and it's a rural-urban sort of setting, very peaceful, and we're blessed to be here. Our founding principal was Patricia Tully, Sister Patricia Tully. She was of the Mercy tradition, the charism of Mercy founded by Catherine Macaulay. And we still celebrate much of the thing that she's put in place, and we engage ourselves with a lot of the Mercy traditions here, and indeed a lot of the Mercy schools that are founded in New South Wales. We are, however, one of 82 Catholic education diocese of Parramatta systemic schools. Our journey is with Christ, and that is our theme, that is our motto. We walk with Christ, we walk with Jesus, and we basically embed that in our thinking with our students, in that we tell our students clearly that when you arrive at Emmaus, each and every day that you're here, you will journey with Christ and you'll be part of Christ's as lived history. And then when you leave our gates at the end of your 6 years at Emmaus, you continue to journey with Christ, and the idea is that you'll send the gospel message away from here and you'll continue to evangelise that message of Christ. And we hope that that is always at the forefront of our community. Currently we have 800 students across Years 7 to 12, and we're looking at an intake of about 150 students into Year 7 next year. Most of our year groups will have about 145. In our senior years we have a few less than that, and that's obviously because students then move on to different areas in terms of their transition away from school. What is it that's important for us? And I talk to our community about the fact that we have a dual moral purpose. And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, we celebrate and we acknowledge that we are unashamedly Catholic at the very fore of what we do. So our Catholic identity is critical, and indeed a couple of years ago we decided that we needed to venture into our vision statement of the college, which was founded on a lot of scriptural doctrine and a lot of theological doctrine, but we felt that there was a need to really espouse what was our key message in terms of our Catholic identity. And we came up with the pillars of Emmaus, and those 5 pillars are now strongly embedded in everything we do. And we talk about mercy, we talk about hospitality, we talk about faith, we talk about service. And those are really what we go and espouse to our community and talk at length about, and our students can articulate that in their everyday work and what they do. So our pillars are at the core of what we do. The other part and the other key purpose of our college is around learning and teaching. And I say it that way. Often you hear the phrase teaching and learning. I talk about learning and teaching because really it's about the students first and what they're learning, and then the teaching will supplement the good work of the students. So we attempt to facilitate the learning, but the students are at the forefront. And I tell our community that our schools are about the young people first and foremost. And so our mantra here at Emmaus is learning, learning and more learning. And we never compromise the learning, and that is critical for what we do. how do we measure ourselves? And I know that would probably be a question that a lot of the parents would be asking. What is it that makes us a unique Catholic school? What is it that makes us a little bit different to what other schools may offer? And I think that's a pretty important question to ask. I guess in starting, and I know you're looking at that slide there and it talks about a range of things that we use to measure ourselves, but I would say right before we even discuss any of those points, that the key measure for me is that when our students, particularly our graduates, return back to us, we often do what we call a satisfaction survey with them. And we ask them simple questions about what was their experience like at Emmaus? Was it suitable? Did it prepare them for the real world? And I can say categorically that almost all the time our students will say yes, 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 that our school prepared them well, that they received everything they needed from the college, that they felt valued, they felt listened to, and they felt safe whenever they were at Emmaus Catholic College. And for me, that is the strongest measure of what our college is about. There are other things that I know no doubt you'd have interest in and you'd certainly want to know about, in terms of how we measure ourselves. We often look at our external results, and that would be NAPLAN results, but we'd also look significantly at our HSC results. But we don't just look at bands and scores and marks and ATARs. We look at growth, and we look to see where our students are, having started here in Year 7, and how they've grown along that path of learning over 6 years. I share with you on that screen some of our success stories, and they are part of our success. Our ATARs, and you can see that there's some wonderful achievements there over the years since 2016 when I started here as principal. We've had some wonderful results, and we're really proud of those and proud of our students. But we're also proud, and equally as proud, of those students that don't go on to university, that go into other pathways. And we talk there about pathways around vocational education and training. Students that pick up scholarships into different areas. Students that go off into trades and apprenticeships and traineeships, and often students that pick up work placements while they're here at college and then get offered positions beyond school. One of the things I do want to share with you is that yes, we have a lot of our students that go off into university. Some 85% of them last year graduated, have gone on to university this year in 2022, and indeed many of them have only recently started, only last week, and we look forward to hearing some of their stories about their university experiences. But one of the things I'm most proud of is that our group last year, who suffered some significant hardship with remote learning and COVID, of those students, 116 of them, 66 of them were offered first round university placements, unconditional placements, before they actually got their ATARs and their HSC results were published. And to me that indicates the fact that they went out looking for those positions, they were hungry, they undertook interviews, they presented things to the universities, they put forward paperwork and submissions, and they were rewarded accordingly. And that's the nature of the Emmaus student. They are up and go-getters. They go out of their way to achieve, so as to make sure that they set themselves up the best they can for their lives beyond school. So I'm really proud of those. At every opportunity at Emmaus, we celebrate academic excellence. We celebrate students reaching potential, and we celebrate a range of achievements. We've in fact got an assembly next week, a whole school assembly. We often have 3 assemblies, and those a term, and those assemblies are absolutely dominated by student achievement, and the number of certificates and awards that are given out make me a proud principal, but it's certainly something that we love to see, and we love to see those big smiles on our students' faces as they achieve those awards, and that's a critical part of their journey here. Our subject offerings, and I'll talk a little bit more about those a bit later, is another way of measuring our school. I often have students enroll into this college beyond Year 7 in other year groups, and often they come to us for Year 9 and for Year 10, and a lot of them would come to us from other schools, particularly for Stage 6, for Year 11 and 12. And the main reason that a lot of them would come to us outside of coming to us in Year 7 is because they know that we offer a broad suite of subjects and a lot more than what they're perhaps getting at their current schools. And so Emmaus provides them with other opportunities. So we talk to our students a lot around subjects, and before they pick subjects or engage in studies, around their subjects, we make sure that we screen them properly and we talk to their families about this as well, so that we're setting them up for the best possible opportunities of this in terms of their studies, not setting them up for failure, but setting them up for subjects that they love and that they want to achieve in. We often have student forums, and the key there is that we ask for their voice in the discussions around subjects and choices, and we know that our students tell us, and they tell us honestly what they need, what they want, and what's going to help them to succeed. Our students are our best advertisements and our best judges, and I tell them that. They are more important than our website, than any brochures, than any publications, than any newsletters. It is how they conduct themselves in our community that is critical, and I keep reminding them that they are our best advertisements and they never let us down. The other thing that we really invest in here is establishing a strong relational trust with our students, and that is a really good measure of our community. Do they trust us? Do they have strong relationships with us? But not just friendly relationships. Yes, they have those strong relationships, but they still know and acknowledge that we're going to hold them to account, that we're going to press them. We're going to press them hard around their learning, and the reason we do that is that we have a balance between relational trust and strong press factor or high standards, because we know that that's going to build resilient students and resilient learners and set them up for the future going forward. They're just some of our measures, and I hope that gives you a little bit of a sense of what we pride ourselves on here. One of our themes, and it's really a theme from the Catholic Education Diocese of Parramatta, is that we're about transforming lives, and we say that here, that is part of our motto and our mantra, that we want to move students along a continuum of being curious, to clear learners, and then to being challenged again to grow further and further. So a move from being curious to clarity of their learning to continually challenging, so as to transform them into what we would call real life learners, contemporary learners, learners that are going to understand what the real world asks of them and needs of them. And so how do we do that? That slide gives you a bit of a sense of the different things that will help to develop a transformational learner. We move them beyond being just surface learners to deep learners to transformational learners. To do that, we do things, as I said earlier, a broad range of curriculum offerings, subject offerings. And then we have other things that will support them, such as, and this would be particularly of interest to our Year 7 families that will be looking to join us next year, and a program that we're really proud of is what we call the Year 7 HRE program. And that program is where we put the students into what's called an integrated subject in HSIE and RE, and they run their lessons, and there are 12 of them across a fortnight together in those two key subject areas, and they have a key teacher that teaches them for both of those subject areas. Now that teacher acts as their champion and really acts as their mentor and sees them on a regular basis, and we've found that this has really helped with the transition from primary to secondary schooling and made them feel really at ease in terms of being here at Emmaus Catholic College. We don't throw out the things that they've learnt in the primary school. We know they do a lot of inquiry-based learning, a lot of project-based learning, and we're well equipped to do that here at Emmaus Catholic College too. All our staff, all our key learning areas have been trained strongly in project-based learning and continue to be, and they invest in that in terms of the learning with their students to ensure that our students become really inquisitive learners and have the opportunity to take up projects that they're genuinely interested in and apply them to real world situations. So it's a program that, again, Year 7s would be heavily invested in, and I know that they love and enjoy, and I get great satisfaction of visiting classrooms and seeing these projects being demonstrated and produced, and they are quality projects. We also introduced some 4 years ago what we call a challenge class, and that challenge class is in place across Year 8 to 10. And what it is, it's for all the core subjects. We put what we call like-minded peers together, and we undertake a range of testing, and we look at past results, and we do some interviews of the students, and we ascertain which students would be suited for being part of the challenge class. Like-minded peers who we know are ready to be extended together in their learning. That doesn't affect anyone in the other classes. We normally have 5 streams in each year group. So we'll have a challenge class, and then we'll have 4 what we call mixed ability classes. Those students are in no way disadvantaged if they're in the mixed ability class. They still get all the key and core learnings, and they get all the quality teachers and resources that the school has to afford. And indeed, anyone in those mixed ability classes who we believe are ready to be extended also are extended, and that is part of what we call a differentiated curriculum. But our challenge class does support those like-minded students who are ready to go a little bit further, a bit quicker. And those classes do change each year, and they are on invitation. Several years ago, we decided that we would implement accelerated classes. And you might be asking, what do accelerated classes mean? Well, we implemented those in mathematics and in English for the HSC. And in simple terms, it means that we have Year 10 students who have been identified who are ready to commence the HSC in Year 10. So not in Year 11 when most do in a traditional format. They commence in Year 10 and we get them studying either English or maths in Year 10, and indeed they sit their HSC exam for either maths or English or both in Year 11, a year earlier than everyone else. And that sets them up then to have a pattern of studies in Year 12 where they've already got some HSC exams out of the way, and they can focus and concentrate a lot of their efforts on their remaining subjects. Indeed, we had last year 5 students who got band 6s in English and 3 in mathematics who were still in Year 11. That to me tells us of the quality of students here, but it also tells us of the need to accelerate students earlier, so that we can put them in pathways that suit them and not necessarily have to follow traditional paths any longer. And I'm proud of the teachers that take them through those accelerated programs. They put in additional effort to tutor those students and to teach those students. We've developed a partnership this year which is transformational as well, and that partnership is with Macquarie University. We have currently got Year 12 students who are engaged in studying a first year subject at Macquarie University as well as completing their higher school certificate. That is simply amazing. Those students are going to get advanced standings when they complete their HSC at the end of this year before they start at Macquarie University next year. We're really blessed to have that in place, and I'm grateful to the work again there of people like our Pathways Coordinator, Mrs. Scarfoni, and Mr. O'Connor, our Director of Academic Growth, who've put this in place. But again, our students are telling us we need this, and our families are telling us we need this. And again, we're moving away from traditional teaching and learning and giving pathways to students earlier than what was done previously, and making them prepared for their real world and for what they want to do beyond school. We offer STEM here at the college, and I know no doubt a lot of you have heard about STEM, and that is the science, technology, engineering and mathematics field. And indeed, one of the things that I am currently investigating, and you may or may not know, but we've got a lot of commercial development that's happening around the college at the moment. And one of the big commercial industries that is setting up is Amazon. And I've already had initial correspondence and discussions with Amazon. It will be their robotics plant that's being set up next to the college here, just off Bakers Lane. And they've agreed that they will engage our students in some learning off-site in terms of STEM learning and in terms of doing work at their robotics plant come 2022. It'll be mid-2022 when that plant is set up. I'm super excited about that, and I know we'll have students that are ready to go over there and to learn, whilst also undertaking studies here at the college, and again get dual credentialing by linking into other groups beyond school. So these are just some of the examples of some of the transformational things that we've got in place here at the college. We talk about diversity being the norm, and what I mean by that is we cater for all students. We're a comprehensive college, and we've got students at all ends of the continuum, and we look at the diversity of those students and we differentiate according to their learning needs. Diversity is the norm here. We've got a strong learning support program. We've got strong profiles of all our students, and we've got a team of teachers that will constantly adjust the learning programs to support the needs of our students. And that is a real privileged position to be in. We have wonderful wellbeing programs here. A lot of schools talk about wellbeing. We don't do lip service to it here. Wellbeing is embedded in our teaching and learning and is embedded in our curriculum. And we've got wellbeing programs Indeed, you've probably seen we've got a wellbeing website, and I'd ask you to have a look at that, which is founded on our website. Please have a look at that because it gives a lot of tips and strategies to support the wellbeing not only of our students but of our families. We set up a wellbeing centre last year, which is heavily frequented by our students. It's a bit of a drop-in centre where we've got lovely couches and facilities, and we've got games tables, and we've got chessboards, and we've got a range of things in there that just allow students to have a bit of time to just chill out at recess or lunch, or even during lessons where they need some time out just to re-energise their batteries. Along with our wellbeing programs, we introduced some programs last year to support some of the needs of our students, and a couple of examples of those are things like a program in Year 9 and 10 with our boys that we call the Men of Honour program. And the idea of that program was to identify with young men, and it's pertinent given what's been discussed in the media at the moment around the importance of being young men and young women and role models in our society. But the Men of Honour program sets up a program to teach our young men about what it means to be a young male in our society and what are the important concepts that go with that, and the respectful nature of being a young man going forward into our community. We've also got a Thrive program which caters for our young women and helps to support them in terms of what are the needs of being a young woman in our society, and that program also has some great benefits to support learning into the community. We have a range of spiritual, cultural, educational retreats. They can be days, they can be overnights, they can be camps, and we're really proud of those as well. And we do those on a yearly basis across 7 to 12. We've also got, you may be interested, a European tour which happens each year. Each second year, and that is to Europe, and that is to support the learnings in some of our key subjects such as languages and also modern history and ancient history. We've also got a sister school in Korea that we link in with year in, year out, and we're really proud of that as well, and we often have tours to Korea because Korean and Italian are the languages that we offer here at the college. We're engaged in numerous competitions, and in fact last Friday night public speaking kicked off here at the college, and we had some 15 students involved in that across the year groups. And can I say what a privilege it was to watch some of these public speakers. The way they speak and present is just first class, and they are wonderful orators. And of that group, we actually have 3 that are going through this Friday into the zone final, and I'm really looking forward to seeing those speakers compete. We engage in debating competitions, we engage in chess competitions, mock trial competitions, and so we try and give students a range of experiences beyond the school curriculum. Our sporting program is exceptional, and we compete in representative sports in the Parramatta Diocesan Secondary School Sporting Association, and that is in a range of sports, in football, in soccer, in rugby league, in touch, in OzTag, in netball, in basketball, in volleyball, in cricket, and the list goes on. And that takes place on a Thursday afternoon, and we compete against many other schools, and our students perform really well at that. But we also have what we call non-rep sport or venue sport for those students that don't want to engage in the rep sports. We do some of those here at school, or we visit some of the venues beyond school. And some of our sporting program of an afternoon also involves interest areas such as music and art and drama and dance. And so we have a broad suite of programs that take place of a Thursday afternoon. I'm so proud of our Creative and Performing Arts department here at Emmaus Catholic College, as I am of all our key learning areas, but our Creative and Performing Arts are first class, and they engage our students in a range of events in terms of music, art, drama and dance, and then they're engaged with the diocese in programs called Captivate, where some of our elite students in those areas go off and they do programs, and they run involved in workshops, and they get to use their skills and talents beyond our school, but also with other schools in the diocese. We have a MAD night each year. MAD stands for music, art, drama and dance, and that is a great night. It goes off and we have hundreds of people here in the hall that come to watch our students in action and perform. We have a really great house system competition here, and you can see there on the screen in the top right hand corner there's a picture that shows the 4 houses: Jordan, Tabor, Mamre and Cana, and the points that are attributed to those houses. Those points often come from different events that happen here at the school: carnivals, feast days, merit award system. Different awards are given to, different points are given to students as part of the house system, and the students are heavily invested in the house system because they know that at the end of the year they get a day out and they get to go to Wet and Wild, which I know is no longer called Wet and Wild, but it's a great day out and they really enjoy going there. Our student leadership program is outstanding. We have student leaders in different capacities. They hold different portfolios and they do us proud in running different events around the school and engaging with external community bodies, politicians, councils. Next door they have great links with the Emmaus Village and going next door and supporting those retirees, and they do wonderful work there. So the student leadership program is alive and well across 7 to 12, and indeed next week we will be looking to badge students in Year 7, 8, 9 and 10 who will be their house leaders and year group leaders in those younger year groups. We've already done that for Year 11 and 12, and I know a lot of students are so proud to wear those badges. Our Year 12s next week will be also badged, and they will all, every Year 12 student, 116 of them, will receive what's called a Year 12 Student Leaders Badge, because we see them all as leaders and all as mentors for all the students in the school, and they wear that proudly, and they know it's a great honour to receive that badge. And look, and the last thing I'll leave you with around transformational learning, which is critical for me, is that attendance is really crucial, and it starts from home, and I need parents and families to really support that students attend every day. Every day of learning is critical. Every day lost, a day's lost, and they're hard to get back. And every day counts. And being on time all the time is also critical. So the mantra here at the college is that if you can support us with that, that means that our learning isn't compromised. Our teachers are wonderful with that, particularly our homeroom teachers. If a student's missing from the classroom or from a lesson, they don't go without checking in as to why they weren't there, because the phrase is, if they're not missed, well then they don't belong. And our teachers miss our students if they're not at school, and they'll follow up and they'll make sure as to why they're not at school. And our homeroom teachers particularly do wonderful work there. So if they're absent, they're missed, and we want to know why they're not there so that we can catch them up so that their learning is maintained ongoing. And look, I guess it would be really important for me to point out to you, if you are enrolling at Emmaus Catholic College, and I sincerely hope that you do, you're coming to a contemporary learning environment. I've been blessed over the last 3 years. I put together an educational brief and a master plan of the college when we turned 30 years, and that was a few years ago. I proposed that to the Catholic Education Diocese of Parramatta. They turned me away a few times, but ultimately they listened and they actually supported us in knowing that there was a time and place for the college to transform in terms of the facilities. And to that end, we've been blessed and supported by head office over the last 3 years to have had something in the range of about $8 million invested into new contemporary learning facilities. And you can see some photos there on the slide that show our new state-of-the-art Cana facility, which is our Hospitality Food Technology Centre. State-of-the-art, all stainless steel, top-of-the-range equipment that our students are just buzzing with and they love. We've got a new chapel, and then you can see pictures there of contemporary learning spaces with booths and couches and technology and TVs and whiteboards and whiteboard writable tables and benches, just areas that really sustain our students, that make them feel vibrant, that really make them want to come to learn, and allow them to have spaces and places where they learn, not the old traditional rows of tables and whiteboards, but spaces where they feel conducive to the learning. And they tell us they love it. And the idea of that is to make them what we call assessment capable learners, so that they're moving from being surface learners, as I said earlier, where they just scratch the surface with their learning, to invest into more deeper learning, really wanting to learn and know more and more, to become transformational learners, to take the learning here from the school to a setting away from the school that would mimic some of the photos you're seeing there when they go out into the workplace or to university that would mimic the learning that's happening away from school, so that they can then import the learnings from school into a transformational setting in the real world. So I hope that that tells you a little bit about what we're doing currently with our contemporary learning settings. And I will point out that in the upcoming holidays and into early next term, our science laboratories, 5 of them, will be revamped so that we will have state-of-the-art science laboratories and learning spaces, and that's timely as well. And I know our science faculty and indeed our students are really looking forward to that happening, so that will happen this year. I share with you another slide here. We've done a little bit of work and invested a bit of time into what we call the Emmaus Learner and a framework of what learning looks like here at the college. We're about to unveil that in the next little while here at the school, perhaps early next term. But this is work that's come from the teachers, students, and indeed our Parent Advisory Board have been involved in this. Where we've attempted to come up with what is it that we want to see in our students, what is it that we want to see in terms of the calibre of the learning of our students. And it's not just about our students, it's about a partnership with our teachers and with our families. And really it is what we're talking about here is that we want to be the master of our learning. And you can see there that each letter it's an acronym, and each letter stands for what we hope and hope to see our students come away from each and every lesson, each and every week, each and every term, each and every year, again, out into the real world. We want them to be masters and to have a mastery of their learning. And so M stands for being able to make connections. What they pick up in the classroom and from their learning with their teachers and their peers, and indeed at home, they can make connections with that at school and away from school. The A stands for being adaptable learners. We want them to be adaptable, to take what they've learned here and the challenges that go with that and to put it in place in different contexts away from school. We want to see them grow. So the S stands for to seek to grow. We want students to grow every day. And we look at those students growing in their capacity to be the best of their ability, to desire feedback from their teachers and from their peers, and to want more and to grow each day. We want them, and the T stands for thinking critically. We want them to think critically, to not just accept the norm, to not just accept what's given to them every day, but to ask questions and to think about it and to unpack it and to say, well, perhaps I do agree with that, or perhaps I want to ask more, or I want to know more, and I want to make some judgments. And we talk about a solution-based approach to learning. We want them to come up with solutions along with their questions. The E stands for embracing curiosity. We want them to be curious, embrace curiosity, be self-driven, search for things, transfer learning, have a desire to seek other things and to be curious about their learning. Again, not just to accept the status quo. And lastly, the R stands for being reflective. We want them to always self-reflect, to always ask, how can I do more? How can I want more? How can I know more? And that is what we ask of all learners. And again, that is critical for us. And so we talk about them being masters of their learning. And we'll be unpacking this with the students at the start of next term. And our current students will see this, and indeed our new students coming in will see that this will be part of our mantra as well. And it'll be embedded in everything you see on our website, in our student planners, in our bookmarks, in our diaries, and everything that we sort of talk about. What is it that we want our students to be when they're here at the college, and what does our learning framework look like? And to that end, it's critical that that's happening while they're here at school, but just as importantly, we have the pillars, the 5 pillars of Emmaus, our core business in terms of our values and our mission. We want them to be the masters of their learning, but just as importantly, when they leave our gates, it is so important that we have what we call an Emmaus graduate that really depicts what we want them to be able to demonstrate from their learnings here at the college. We want a graduate that's going to leave here, and it would be remiss if we didn't do this, that need to leave here by having strong Catholic values, by being resilient and adaptable learners, by being respectful of themselves and of others in their community and of their learning, to have a great work ethic and to seek success, and most importantly, to be prepared for an ever-changing world. And boy, don't we know that, given what we dealt with last year. And they showed that our students last year were ever-changing and adaptable. And so the Emmaus graduate is, I guess, the last port of call as they come away from Emmaus, as they graduate here. They come in here, they're invested with the pillars, they become masters of their learning, and they leave us as wonderful Emmaus graduates. And I hope you can see that there's a real beautiful transition that goes with that. I need people to be aware of this, and I guess this is critical for any family that is looking to enrol here for next year, and that is that we talk about Catholic schools for everyone. And Bishop Vincent, our Bishop Vincent, says that Catholic schools, the 82 schools in the Diocese of Parramatta, are for everyone. And I would acknowledge that and support that, and indeed I will say to you that I believe that there is still great value for the buck here at Emmaus and indeed all our Catholic schools when you compare us to other schools and independent schools. But I also want to point out to our families, particularly our new families that will be joining us, that, and I stand by this, no student will miss out on Catholic education at Emmaus because of the inability to meet financial issues and fees and that sort of thing. So it's a matter of having a conversation with us and we'll put things in place to support you, but no student misses out on Catholic education at Emmaus because of financial hardship. And I want people to know that, and that is the Bishop's response to us as well, that it is Catholic schooling for everyone. And so I guess we're coming towards the end now, and I guess this has been the first time we've tried this virtual open night, and I appreciate it's different, and I hope that you've gleaned some important information. And I do apologise that you haven't been able to come on site face to face, given some of the circumstances that we had to put in place at the moment. But the virtual tour, I hope, will give you just as much insight into the school. So from here going forward, there are a couple of steps that I'd like you to follow up beyond this talk. And this talk that's been videotaped will be available on YouTube going forward. So you can refer back to it at any time. And I do appreciate there's been lots to take in. I do like to talk, and I apologise for that. And there's probably bits that you've missed along the way. So certainly go back and revisit this video if you need to. But the next steps would be still on our college website to please go and watch our promotional video. We engaged professional photographers and videographers last year, and they came in and they did a promotional video of the college. That's present on the college website. It's a 3-minute video, so it doesn't go for a huge period of time, but it shows our students in action and it talks to our students, and the students will be talking to you in that video and telling you about our college along with our teachers. So I'd ask you to look at that because it gives you a true representation of what happens here at the college. We also engaged that group last year to produce a virtual tour of the college, and that virtual tour will take you through every nook and cranny here at the school, and you can click on different spaces and it will take you through all the spaces at the college as though you're walking through them had you have been here this evening, and I'd encourage you to look at that, and you can do that at your own pace. It is a superb tour of the college and it shows all our new facilities. Beyond that, those people that are interested in coming to Emmaus next year, and I certainly hope it's all of you that are watching on, there's a need there online to complete an expression of interest. So there's a simple tab on the college website where you complete an expression of interest and give us your details, and we will then collate those details, and from that we will send you an enrolment package, and that package will have further details about what you need to complete. And it needs to be returned here to the college before the 1st of April or earlier. We'd appreciate if we got it earlier. Know that our 3 feeder Catholic primary schools, that is Trinity Catholic Primary, Our Lady of the Rosary at St Mary's and Holy Spirit at St Clair, we visited those college last week, those primary schools last week, and I spoke to all of Year 6 along with 2 delightful Year 10 students who gave them a great talk about the realities of Emmaus, and I was very proud of those 2 students. But we issued the enrolment packs to those students and they took them home. So families from those 3 feeder schools, you won't need to do the expression of interest. You're welcome to do that, but you've already got the application packages. And again, I'd ask you please to complete those enrolment applications and to submit those to the college front office by the 1st of April, which is the end of this term, or earlier please, would be appreciated. And so I guess the final things I would say, and I've already spoken to the couple of points there on that screen, please submit as soon as possible. I know there's been a few questions that have come up on the screen, and I'm going to flick to those in a moment. I'm going to be reading to a screen to my right, and hopefully I'll be able to answer a few of those in the last 10 minutes or so of this presentation. And I'll get to those in a moment. But I do want to point out one thing, and that is that last point on that slide, well, definitely that last picture. We want you. We definitely want you here at Emmaus. I would be privileged to have you here at the college. But look, I am looking, I know a few people have been making contact with us and have expressed a little bit of disappointment about not being able to come on campus. My promise to you is this: if you apply and your application comes through, normally the way which we go about it is, if you don't have a sibling here, I interview all the new incoming Year 7 students personally, and as part of that interview, normally of a morning, I will take you on a personal tour of the college, and that will be my promise to you. But on top of that, my hope would be, if COVID maintains itself, and I sincerely pray that it is the case going forward, if there are no issues with COVID going forward and we don't have to put a whole range of structures in place in terms of who can be on site and come in contact with our community, I will be looking to have 2 open classroom mornings next term, and we'll advertise those to you. I can't tell you the dates for those yet, but we'll certainly advertise those on our website and all our social media forums, as well as any other place that's available to our community, so that people can simply drop into the college at any of those 2 mornings and visit our classrooms. Open doors, you can pop into any classroom, you can stay for as long as you like, and you can get a true sense of what the college is about in action with our students in those rooms with their teachers. So I hope that's been useful. I know I've gone a little bit over time and I apologise, but I hope you've certainly gleaned information that you wanted to hear tonight. This would have been the norm had you have come to the open night, that there's normally a presentation in the hall, and I hope you've got the information that you needed thus far. So I thank you for listening. I'm now going to flick to this other screen, and you're going to have to be patient with me as I see a few questions up there. I'll endeavour to read them. I'm going to take my glasses off because I won't be able to read some of them, but I'll try and answer those, and hopefully they'll appease some of the questions that have been asked by individuals, but hopefully they'll appease a broader range of people. So thank you for listening. I'm going to have a look at some of the chat here that's up there, and I've got some trusted friends that are helping me in the room, and they might help me with some of those. So I'm looking at it, and I've got a question there about facilities, I think it is. There are some amazing new facilities. How can we see them in action? Okay, so the simple answer to that is, go and have a look at that 360 virtual tour. That's going to show a lot of those spaces and our learning spaces there now. And as I said to you, if you do enrol and you come for the interview, I'll happily take you on a personal tour of those. And the open mornings, you'll be certainly able to go through and see those. So there was a question there about, will the school have some open learning rooms available to us? And the answer is yes, they will. There's a question there I'm looking at, which is a good one, and it tells us about, it's asking about how many children are normally in a class, and that's a really good question. I'll say this clearly to you: we don't max our classes out, and I do that purposely. We normally have in our core classes across years 7 to 10. In the range of about 26 to 28 students. So I try and avoid putting 30 students in a classroom, because we want to make sure that the learning is personalised and individualised, and we can differentiate for the class. So by not maxing them out, that gives us that opportunity to do that. So great question. Normally between 26 and 28, and we certainly don't. We try and avoid 30s. And in our senior classes, for what it's worth, just know those classes, there's no rule of thumb in terms of numbers. We could have classes with 5 students in there. We could have classes with 20 students, but we wouldn't have more than 24 in those classes. I know for a fact at the moment, we've got a quality young man in year 11 who is doing chemistry, and he's the sole student in that chemistry class. Now, we could quite easily turn that class around and say, well, we can't run it. We don't do that, because we know that that student requires chemistry as part of their pathway. So we're proud to do that. Is religion compulsory as part of the learning as we go along? Yes, it is. So in a Catholic school setting, religious education is mandatory, and that is part of the curriculum and subject offerings from 7 through to 12. In Year 11 and 12 there is a little bit of scope to pick up and to study a few alternatives. So we can do studies of religion, which allows you to look at other religious traditions outside of Christianity. We also have a few other offerings there, but mandatory religious education is part of the studies, so you have to be part of that when you enrol. You can't opt in or out of religious education. And indeed we have retreats and reflection days, religious reflection days each year, and that is mandatory as well as part of our curriculum. How many teachers are planning to be part of Year 7 in 2022 if we've got 150 students? That's a good question. Look, we normally have, as I said to you a little bit earlier, we've got, just so you know, we've got over 120 staff at the college. That includes teaching and support staff. And in terms of teaching staff, we have got 77 teaching staff. The question about how many in Year 7, well, there'll be 5 streams, and then if you look at that, you've probably got 7 subjects in each stream. So there's 7 teachers there for each stream. And then you've got homeroom teachers, sport teachers, pastoral teachers, a leader of wellbeing who looks after the group. So you could have in Year 7, a student may have in the range of 7 or 8 teachers, but there could be in the range of 20, 25 teachers across the Year 7 cohort. But just know we've got a really strong structure where we have a leader of wellbeing who looks after the year group. We have a homeroom teacher that every student sees every morning for 15 minutes, who's like their go-to person, checks in on them, makes sure they're okay, they're ready for the school day. Then they're subject teachers, and then we've got leaders of learning, leaders of wellbeing, we've got the leadership team. So there's a range of structures to support our students. And I guess it's worth noting too, we use our students. We've got a peer support program that support our Year 7s as well when they start here, and that helps them with a transition. So we've got the big brothers and sisters in Year 10 that do a delightful job with helping our Year 7s feel at ease. So they act as the mini teachers as well while they're here at the college. I'm looking at, are there any other trusted questions there that are important? I'm trying to scroll through, and I'd be happy to support and answer any questions. Are there any before and after school activities? What a delightful question. That's an absolute beauty. Should have said that at the start. Yes, we do. And I guess the one that particularly impresses me and encourages me is that our school library, or that school space, is open, and it's a massive space, is open from 8 a.m. in the morning, and we have a number of students that go in there that can use the different facilities, breakout rooms, study bunks and nooks, and we have a lot of teachers that go up there that avail themselves to our students. And the same happens of an afternoon. So from 8 o'clock in the morning before they start their class at 8:35, that space is open. And in the afternoon, and I'm really proud of this, every afternoon, essentially from 3 till 4 o'clock, sometimes longer, we have the library space open as well. And teachers are up there on a regular basis supporting students. On a Tuesday we have English club as an example, on a Wednesday we have maths club, and effectively, and I say this to our families and to our students, make use of those teachers, pick their brains, and it's almost like free tutoring, and you're not going to get that anywhere else. And I know a lot of our students are up there. I was up there this afternoon before I came down to prepare for this, and I could quite easily say confidently there were over 100 students up there getting supported by some 20 plus teachers. So super proud of that. Yes, there are lots of activities that happen before and after school. As I said also, we're on 44 hectares. We've got 2 ovals, we've got a hall, we've got gymnasiums, we've got 4 basketball courts, we've got 4 cricket nets, we've got 2 chessboards outside my office here, which is called the Principal's Lawn. Students come and they use those facilities as they choose to, and we're delighted to see them using those facilities. So there's lots happening there. I'm looking about whether there are other things there. Emmaus does it offer extra support for students who are below average in terms of academic? Yeah, we've got multiple pathways. We're not about just students that are going off to universities. We have a lot of transitional programs. We have a great learning support program here. We monitor, we test, we ascertain the needs of our students. We put adjustments in place. But we certainly have a lot of pathways for our students that perhaps don't want to go down the academic pathway, and that's wonderful, and we're certainly privileged to do that and to accommodate the needs of our students. A lot of schools don't have work placement anymore. They used to do that in Year 10 and send students off to get a taste of work. We don't do it either, but what we do is if there is a real need here and a student has got a good cause for that and a family, I'll happily entertain some students going off into work placement for a week or a couple of weeks or a day or a week, so as to get a sense of a particular pathway they want to be part of before they make those really vital life decisions. So certainly we have programs that we will support for those students away from the university pathways and the non-academic pathways. Do we have a dance program is a question I've just seen pop up. We build dance into our program often during sport. We often compete in Captivate, which is a CEDP or Catholic Education Diocese of Parramatta program, and we've had students involved in that over the years. And I'll certainly support students who want to be part of dance programs or routines or events away from school. Happy to do that. And we don't offer dance at the moment as a course, a subject elective. That's one of the electives in Year 9 and 10 that can then continue into 11 and 12. But we have put that on the list over the years. We just haven't had enough students take it up. But we'd happily revisit that. And if there's an interest and a need, dance would be on the program, and we'd certainly have teachers that are experts to do that and to support that. So that's a really good question that's come up there around dance. And I know there's a couple of girls that go off and do dance programs away from school, and we've supported them here. We've actually invested in them and helped them to buy their uniforms and that sort of thing. We've actually had a few students, for what it's worth, that get involved in programs that we can't offer here, such as equestrian programs, and they've really done us proud. And I know one young lady who's part of the college who we've happily bought a college saddlecloth for, and she uses that when she competes away from school, but she represents the school and does us proud. Do we have ping pong? That's a wonderful question. We certainly do. We have ping pong tables. We've actually put, I think, 4 ping pong tables out on the yard, those really sturdy ones, and then we've got a whole lot of them as well in the hall that are available. So some students want to play ping pong during recess and lunch, but we offer that also as a sport as we go. Table tennis is what I know it at. Ping pong would have been the name that I used to use back in the day when I played. Table tennis is really an interesting one, and our students love playing it here. I'm scrolling, and I apologise as I'm looking away from camera, but I'm trying to answer questions that might come up that people have. And please, if you're still there online, drop a question if you think there's a need for anything further. But we're getting close, I think. Is it a requirement? There's another great question. Is it a requirement to have completed all sacraments? And I'd imagine that means to enrol here at the college into Year 7. Look, we'd strongly encourage you to do that. That is part of the enrolment policy. However, we know that sometimes families don't get to do that at the times that they're offered, and we'd certainly be supportive of them doing it at a later time, and the college would support that with the parishes. So whilst it's not mandatory to enrol here, that is strongly encouraged as part of the Catholic Education Diocese of Parramatta enrolment policy, but it is not critical. And as I said, Catholic schools for everyone, and that is Bishop Vincent's mantra. And certainly know that we have students that are enrolled from other religious traditions and faiths and denominations, and that is fine, and we accept them, and we make them part of our community, and that's just part of what it means to be Catholic and Christian. So not mandatory to have done all the sacraments, but we'd strongly encourage you to do that to get a good sense of, particularly the Catholic values and traditions, and studying Catholic education right through to Year 12. Do you have basketball during open days? Yes, we do. We have basketball courts all over the place here, newly relaid basketball courts, 4 of them, multi-purpose courts. We have indoor courts as well. We have programs at Sport for Basketball. Our students love their basketball, and we're involved in a range of competitions there. I'm pretty much seeing we're almost coming to an end with our questions. I'm not seeing too many more. I'm going to give people another maybe a minute or so. Have you got another question? Happy to answer any more questions that might come up. Do you have a soccer program? We do. We're involved in, as I said, the Parramatta Diocesan Secondary School Sporting Association, so we're involved in representative sport. We also compete in CCC soccer. We enter teams in that knockout competition, which is combined Catholic colleges. And last year, in fact, we got to the semi-final and that. We got a very strong soccer program. And we got, as I said, some really wonderful facilities here to support that. So another good question. I'm pretty much looking at what's there, and I think I'm getting the thumbs up. Well, look, I might at this point, and I'm really pleased that you joined us this evening for this talk. And again, I apologise for not being able to be on site live with you, but we'll try and put some things in place, as you heard me say, to support that. But look, thanks for joining in. I hope you've got something of it. I wish you a wonderful night. And lastly, please enrol at Emmaus Catholic College. We want you here. I know that this school, and I promise you that this school will give you every opportunity and be the best platform and pathway for your son and daughter going forward. So I look forward to meeting you, look forward to receiving your applications for enrolment, and then to going forward with the interviews and open mornings as we progress going forward. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your evening, and God bless. Thanks, everyone.